in-market versus out-of-market strategies are very different. But in either case, you have to be in front of the user consistently, really, in order to achieve success. So, Claudia, I know that this is a very important part of your marketing planning and strategy.
It is, yeah, it is. And for us, it's important because we know that the in-market potential is so small, but the in-market potential can get bigger at any given moment, right? You don't know when the persona, the person, the company is ready to have a conversation with you or might need your solution, your product, or your services, right? So it's really important to play the Tetris in the long game, in the long run, right? So whatever demand gen you want to set up or you want to get going, that's not for tomorrow. That is for the next month. That is for next year. That is something that might be running for months and years to go, right? And for example, when we started with Tech Target and intent data, that's been over 2 years ago, and that hasn't stopped. That's just something that continuously goes because at any given moment, your market might change. And especially as an example with COVID, right? The market changed overnight. So if you don't have things running that are consistently always on, you're missing out, right? Because you can't tap into that potential. And I think that's sometimes also very difficult to understand, maybe for your management or your sales teams, that things that you set up right now is you don't have the ROI tomorrow. You may not have the ROI next year, but it's something you have to plan and play for the long game.
Yeah, I would like to highlight the aspect of so when you think about always on, you kind of set it up, you code it, you see that it works, and then you focus on something else. But then it's really critical to come back and refresh, because otherwise this always on thing can keep sending outdated content to your customers. So that's the critical piece, because as I mentioned before, we started to automate customer journeys, and that's really great concept. It really works, but then it's just overnight you find yourself in a completely different job. So you really need to manage content properly and manage your data. Yeah, so it's a bit different, but it's really pays off in this virtual environment. As Claudia said, COVID changed everything overnight. It's now 100% digital. We see first signs of return to face-to-face, but still digital will be with us for long. Yeah, so this always on it's with us. And as I also mentioned, we need to think not about just pre-purchase customer journey, but also post-purchase customer journey. Marketing can play the role there as well.
And I think to your point there, it's for always on is when something is running and is working, it's good. What if you do go to a different kind of demand gen, or try something new? If you have something that's running, maybe you can leverage it. If you always just go, stop, go, play, stop playing, no, you have to continue, and you can use it, leverage most likely what you have set up to a certain extent, which is much less work on the team and the efforts and the outcome then too.
Yeah, that's exactly. So I love the metaphor of Tetris, Bernie. So it's great, but your slide with game over, like, it gives me panic, because in real life, in business, it's not the case. So it's good to play because you learn, you build infrastructure. There's something that stays with you, even if you have to start again. So you kind of build on your previous experience, right? So it's never game over. It's always on.